and capacity development, and we host meetings and do lots of things with our members to help grow the internet in the Asia Pacific. So I'm here to talk in the cybersecurity stand, but I sneaked a little bit of career talk into this pack. I hope that's okay. Okay, let's go. So, timing is everything. I want to give you a little bit of background about my career trajectory because it is basically timing is everything. I didn't actually do very well at university, but things worked out okay, and it was all about the timing. After graduation, I was the last one in my class without a job. Someone offered me a pity job with a sole trader. I was working for peanuts, but it led to me taking a junior role in a university, and that led to me working in networking. And then I brokered networking in a junior role to a senior role. I wound up working in 3 countries, here in Australia and in the UK and in a residency in the Netherlands for 40 years. Now, I know a lot of that is about the past. That was the days of big steam engine IT. Things have got tougher and there are a lot more people with good skills, but I really believe that there are good long-term job prospects in networking and network security, and I want to beg you guys to think about working in this space. So, timing is everything. This talk is about routing security. What a time to talk about this. Look at what just happened. I could give you back 15 minutes because if I stop at this slide, I've said it all. Facebook did something we call a foot gun. They shot themselves in the foot. Look what it did. It took themselves offline. And it took WhatsApp offline. And it took Instagram offline. Whoa, 1 million influencers around the world disappeared. What a disturbance in the force. But they also broke peer-to-peer finance for the whole of Africa. Millions of dollars stopped moving through WhatsApp. That's huge. So, what did Facebook break? They broke routing. It's that simple. Now, some people out there, they want to say, no, this wasn't routing. This was the domain name system, the DNS. The machines that run facebook.com as the name, they stopped being visible. How did they stop being visible? They broke routing. So you might say, okay, they broke routing. Is that really security? Is it? Well, no, but there's kind of a story here about apparent security work that doesn't really hit the mark. Security can help make foot guns, and that is a huge problem. So, let's talk about a model of the internet, a metaphor that we use a lot. And this is the metaphor of the 3 fundamentals that underpin the internet. Names to find addresses, addresses that we hand out uniquely to let routing work, and a routing system to find the addresses you found from the names. So we talk about this as a 3-legged stool. The thing about a 3-legged stool is if you take away one leg, it doesn't work. If you take away DNS names, you can't find the addresses. If you take away the address uniqueness, you can't find names to addresses. If you take away routing, you don't know where to send anything. So if you take one thing away, the whole thing falls over. Okay, let's secure it. So what we've done is made a pretty basic decision. It's a fork in the road. You could say, let's add another leg because a 4-legged stool is a lot stronger than a 3-legged stool. The problem is we argue like cats and dogs engineering the network. And adding an extra leg, that's a big argument. So instead, we made the decision, let's make the legs fatter. Let's make it stronger. Let's toughen it up. And we did that by adding a security mechanism called PKI, public key infrastructure. In the DNS, we call that DNSSEC. In IP address management, we call it RPKI certificates. In routing, it's a work in progress, but it's PKI, and we did make things stronger. This mortar and pestle, I would love to have this mortar and pestle. You could drive a truck on this. You could change the oil on your car by driving on this. The problem is, we kind of made things stronger and we kind of made things weaker. Most of the time, we made it better, but not always. Because you can still break things, and when you break strong things, it's just as bad as breaking one leg on a three-legged stool. Adding security makes things more complicated. Adding complications makes it easier to break them. They fail more often. Adding security makes things harder to fix. So what broke Facebook? This protocol called BGP broke Facebook. It was maybe only one or two commands that were typed wrong, but that was enough to break Facebook. And if we add security to BGP, we make it more likely we're going to break it. So what happened to Facebook could happen anywhere. And the more security features you add to something, the easier you make it to break it. So I keep saying PKI, public key infrastructure. What's that about? It's an old story. It was invented back in the 70s by the spooks, the spy agencies in the UK and the USA. And it's about secrets and proof. And it works. For the next 10 or 20 years, this technology works. Maybe if quantum computing works out, maybe there's a problem. That's a way off. So, how does it work? Look, if you think I'm going to explain it in a 20-minute talk, well, 15 minutes, no. It's complicated maths. It's cryptography. It's crypto. Uh-oh. Right now, somebody out there is thinking, crypto, that means blockchain. This is a slide pack about blockchain, right? This is not a slide pack about cryptocurrency. Yes, cryptocurrency uses public-private keys, PKI. Yes, there have been suggestions to secure routing, putting it on the blockchain. But no, the engineers who really run the network don't want to do that. That's a story for another day. We're not talking about blockchain. What we're talking about is the property of signing things, making digital signatures using hash functions, fundamental mathematics used all through computer science, and you calculate a hash over a thing, and you prove that it hasn't been changed, and you prove that you made the signature. And you do this with complex one-way functions, and there's a crucial thing. You must keep one value private, your private key. It's a strong drive. And as long as you do that, PKIs, this scheme, they work. Keep something secret, sign with it. The public part is the check, using the public thing to check what the private thing did. Well, there's another use. That's about secrecy. We're not talking about that use. We're talking about proving this. So, this meme photo, all the time, I thought this was about Julia Roberts. Apparently, that's not Julia Roberts. You learn things. So, keys, public-private keys, put into certificates, form chains of certificates. Certificates are a signature over a key and other information to prove identity. Chains are useful. They establish that somebody gave something to someone else. Validation, proving with certificates, is about proving every link in the chain. And to do this, you do maths about issuer and subject and signatures all the way along the chain to the last element, the trust anchor. You have to be told your trust anchor. You don't prove it, it's a mathematical axiom. So, PKIs are about building hierarchies that make this system better. You get given a trust anchor right up the top, and you build a pyramid of infrastructure underneath. You can prove everything from the peak of the pyramid down as long as you have that trust anchor, and as long as everybody keeps keys private. All the bits that make this work, that's infrastructure, so it's public key infrastructure. You're doing this all the time in HTTPS. Web service certificates, they're PKI, and they depend on a trust anchor in your browser. When trust anchor breaks, things go very strange. So it works right up until the time things get lost. And this month, remember, timing is everything. This month, an apex of one of the trust pyramids went missing. A company called Let's Encrypt lost their trust anchor. Now, they've known for 5 years this moment was coming. But a lot of manufacturers, I think lazy manufacturers, baked that trust certificate into a device. LG baked it into their Android TV. They baked it into their systems. So, do you keep a TV for 5 years? I do. Maybe TVs pass down to the kids' room, or maybe they go into the playroom. But the thing is, a lot of people's TVs went dumb. They stopped working all around the world, all because of one itty bitty tiny little certificate that went missing. So, DNS in PKI, that's DNSSEC, and it has a trust anchor. That's provided by ICANN. They're the people who have oversight over all of the top level names. DNSSEC isn't quite like certificates, it uses bear keys, but it's a similar model, and you have to trust what things say based on proof. So if you lost that trust anchor, you'd have a lot of trouble, right? Well, we didn't exactly lose the trust anchor, but we did have a foot gun. We lost the keys to get into a digital safe. The secure materials that you use to re-sign things with that trust anchor were in a digital safe, and one battery failed. And because of that, nobody could unlock the safe because the pin stopped working. And these photographs, this is real from what happened. They paid a locksmith to come in and drill a hole into the safe to get things out of the safe so they could use the trust anchor to re-sign all the names across the internet. Now, they had 3, maybe 4 months of leeway before things were going to go bad. So this wasn't a disaster, but it could have been. Okay, addresses in PKI, RPKI. This is actually what my job was in APNIC. We signed certificates over addresses, and the ISPs throughout the Philippines get these certificates and say things about their addresses, things they want people to check. We've been doing this for about 10 years. We're one of the legs of the three-legged stool. So now we come to why I'm here, securing routing. This is all about securing a protocol called BGP. BGP stands for Border Gateway Protocol. Sky News here in Australia went live with a news story calling it Bridging Gap Protocol. I kind of like that. I love it when national news is talking tech and then they go slightly off screen and get the tech wrong. So BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. This is something the internet depends on to ship packets. The thing about BGP is it's incredibly simple. BGP is rumors. It's all gossip. It's 70,000 people, things that we call ASNs or autonomous systems. The N part, that's numbers, they're unique ID numbers. We hand them out, and they share 800,000 routes about prefixes, about addresses, because to routing, that's all hosts are. They're just addresses. A web host or a home host or your bank or whatever, they're just addresses. So protecting BGP is kind of really hard. Why do you believe this gossip? Why would you believe what you hear? Well, the thing is, right now, you just do. That's how it works. People say lies all the time in BGP. It's terrible. If we add signatures, we're going to make things stronger. We're going to underpin that trust model with objective proof. Use the signatures to check what you see in BGP. That's really vital. So there are other things you need to do. Protect the system, normal security, secure transport, like in banking and finance. That isn't as exciting, but there's good work in that. So protecting the information model, not having lies, how are we doing? Well, you and me, the public internet we're talking over, it's about 25% signed on average. About 15% of ISPs check what they see. In Asia, we do less checking, but we have more signing. You guys, the Philippines, you rock because 75% of the addresses in the Philippines ISP community are signed. Respect. The level of checking, that's really low, probably only 5 to 20%. So the thing is, you guys, no one can tell lies about you. That's good. But you're not checking if other people tell lies to you. That's not so good. Okay, BGP is about two things: origin and path. Origin is the start of the gossip, it's what you say. Path is what you hear, it's the things you learn. And you need to protect both things. So, right now, we've only fixed origin. Fixing path is hard. It's more complicated and it's more complex, it's more effort, it hasn't been fully designed. We only got half the story done. So now we come back to the other half of my talk because we need people to help. If BGP security isn't fully defined, if there's a problem here and if designing it's hard, maybe there's a job here for you. So we need brains. We need smart people. Maybe you could be the smart people. Here are some of the roles we need in networking worldwide and in the Philippines. People to fill these roles. And not all these people are going to be brilliant programmers. Some of them might have other skills. So the real reason we need you is because we're all getting old. We need you to replace us. It would be really nice if we got more women, more people of color, and more non-English speakers to join in and work out how to do things. The really big question here is, what kind of a network do we want to build? Why are we doing this? It's not just about Netflix. It's about emergency services, finding lost children, voting, finding jobs. This is huge. What's the network for? Who decides? Well, whatever it's for, I think it should be strong, not brittle, strong. And to make it strong and resilient, we need good security. And whatever it's for, I think you should take control and decide. I don't want to do this in 5 years' time. I really want to go do something else, maybe with a mortar and pestle. Whatever it's for everyone. There are 2 to 3 billion other people who need to get online. This is a big job. So, my plea is, think about working in network security. We need your brains. Thank you very much for my chance to talk and present. I think I'm on a panel session later, so please ask me questions there or send me an email. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. George Michelson. All right, so as mentioned earlier, those questions related to the talk and discussions of our speakers, we'll try to our best to answer them later in the panel discussion. So now our next speaker is a math Olympic gold medalist converted to